Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over how to use your arms to increase ground force. We're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so as always, I'm trying to find out ways to be able to help you guys in terms of sprinting and help my clients in terms of sprinting and also be able to improve my own speed. And so what we're gonna be going over today is gonna be how we can improve our speed by, and really force into the ground, horizontal force into the ground by better utilizing our arms. And really, you know, when it comes to running, when it comes to sprinting, it's all about the timing. It's all about how we're going to be able to integrate all the parts of our body in order to make it so we can run as fast as possible. And so what I commonly see when, you know, people are running, and I blurred out the faces here to try to protect privacy, is that, you know, when the athletes are hitting the ground, right? There's going to be a synchronization between the left arm here and the right leg, right? And the better and sooner we're able to create a pull within that left arm to make it so then we're able to get more action in extension within that leg, because, you know, really the leg is in flexion here, right? The right leg is in flexion, but we're pulling down into extension, right? The athlete's getting into extension, okay? And so, or you know, pulling the leg back. So, you know, this is really, from a scientific standpoint, is when you're going to get the most activation from the hamstrings, right? The most activation from the glutes and a lot of the posterior chain in general. And there's a whole chain of muscles that go from, you know, that back line all the way into the other side shoulder, that left shoulder. And so the better we can utilize that left hand, in this case, or our arm, to be able to pull down into the ground before, right? And that's the key thing here. That's the point of making this video, is really being able to understand this is supposed to be before the foot hits the ground, right? So we want to be pulling back with that left arm, and we can see here on the right, or sorry, on the left, better how it's done. So you can see the pull, right? So see the amount of time that there's that pull, okay? So that entire time we're shortening from, now it's going to be the right shoulder all the way through from into the left glute and, you know, through that left leg. And you can even see a lot of the activation here within this left leg, right? So that left arm is really pulling, and you can see how the timing mechanism is there, right? And you know, I try to tell people to really lead with that arm, to be able to get faster with that arm, because the faster you can get your hand to be able to pull all the way back behind here and then come right back forward, the faster you're going to be overall, right? So that full pull back within the arms, within the upper body, and then driving the hand back through, right? And then we're going to pull back down, and you can see how that timing ends up happening. So the more you can get time in pulling that arm back, the better we're going to be able to generate force into the ground with the leg, with the you know, really entire you know, left foot, okay? And so we can see the difference here, right? We're not able to get the same type of action from the arms, right? And because we're not getting the same action from the arms, we're also not getting the same type of, you know, strike into the ground, right? We're not able to generate as much force here on the right into the ground, right? And you can see how the hand is moving downward here, right? So that, and at that same time, see how the foot is doing that? Okay, that ends up being something that your brain has learned, right? This is a learned skill, just like this is a learned skill, right? So see how he's pulling back. He is going down, but he's also pulling back, right? And I really try to go, you know, straight back with my elbow. I try not to get as much, you know, basically no arm down action. Okay, but the more we can work on extension of that shoulder and, you know, timing that out, and you can see what that ends up doing, right? It makes it so when he lands, he's landing here. All right, so that's important. It's important to understand how to be able to use your arms to be able to make it so you can create more force into the ground, to be able to make it so you can run faster, to make it so you can have a faster turnover. Because, you know, the faster you can move your arms, the faster you're going to be able to move your legs. Right? There ends up being a relationship there. And so, don't take that relationship for granted, and don't think that, anything that you're doing with the hands, with the elbows, with how you're moving the body is, not having an impact, right? Even with your head, your shoulders, everything. That all ends up being really important. And the more you know about this, the more you're going to be able to make improvements. And so that's why, I'm big on the breakdowns. That's why I'm big on the video. That's why I'm big on the coaching. That's why I'm big on the mechanics, because I think that makes a big difference. It's not only about the, programming when it comes to the amount of sprints that you're doing, or the program that you're doing in terms of the, what you're doing in the gym. Right? I think there's a lot of great things that you could do in the gym. And I'm sure there's some things that you could do that are going to differentiate yourself. But at the end of the day, you're not going to win a race. You're not going to make substantial changes in your speed. You're not going to make it so you can, improve your start, do any of that unless you fix the mechanics, right? Get through injuries. Right? I mean, if you're having repetitive hamstring injuries or hip flexor injuries or anything like that, it has to do with how you're moving. It has to do with what the habitual actions are within the body, and or the ability to achieve certain ranges, right? To be able to control certain movements. If you're not able to control, like a single leg squat properly, if you don't have the right ankle range of motion, for instance, or you don't have the ability to, move through the full ranges of, a certain leg in terms of hip flexion and hip extension, or hip rotation, internal rotation, hip external rotation, then the likelihood of you getting injured increases. Okay. Another thing that's going to increase your chance of getting injured is having a past injury, right? So as soon as you get an injury, any type of substantial injury, right? A hamstring strain, an ankle sprain, a groin injury. The likelihood of you having that injury again goes up by like 5,000 or 500%, right? You're like 5 more times more likely, if that not even more likely to be able to get another injury just like that, right? And it's a very similar thing when it comes to your overall activity rate, right? So if you're working out 5 times a week, or you're competing in track and field, or you're competing in football, or you're competing in soccer, your likelihood to get injured goes up substantial. You're right. It's like the same thing like if you drive, right? If you're driving 100 miles a day compared to somebody that's driving 5 miles a day, a person that's driving 100 miles a day is going to be significantly more potentially at risk for injury. Okay, so you want to understand what is your body doing, right? How can you get the most out of each day? How do you get the most out of your mechanics? How do you make sure that you're optimizing yourself to be able to perform at the highest level? You got to get a breakdown. You got to understand, what are the specifics, and get a program, right? Get one of the programs. I'll do a breakdown for you. Get a breakdown. I obviously will do a breakdown if you get the breakdown programs, and see yourself completely transform within 2 weeks, 4 weeks, right? It's just going to be a matter of commitment. Okay, so it's not, as long as you have the time and you have the willingness and you decide that it's something that you want, you're going to be able to get the results. It's just going to be, a matter of how badly do you want to improve, right? Because I'm in a place right now where it's like I will do anything to help somebody get faster. Right? Anything to help anybody throw the ball further, because I know that is going to end up being what is a main part of my business as it continues to grow, is continued success and a huge amounts of success. So my number one priority right now is helping athletes improve their throw and improve their speed online, because that's what I want to do long term. All right, so check out some of the things in the description. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, leave those down below. I, as always, appreciate you guys for watching, and I'm looking forward to being able to continue to help you in improving your sprinting mechanics, your throwing mechanics, your jumping mechanics, understanding injuries, understanding your body. Check out the podcast too. We'll have a link down there below. We have a lot of great things coming within that podcast. I've already interviewed like 4 people that I don't even have on there yet. But Fernand was the last one. I think that was great. And we will be launching a new one on Monday. Every Monday we'll be having a new podcast. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Talk to you soon. Have a good night.